Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from downtown Baton Rouge. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from our studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here at ESPN Baton Rouge. Jacob Beck, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. We got plenty to talk about over the next couple of hours. Full football weekend down here in South Louisiana. We'll react to LSU's win over Louisiana Tech. Saints come up just short against the Cardinals. Plenty of reaction to those two games. I got to tell you about all my picks from Friday in the Southeastern Conference. We'll do that at the top of the second hour, and might be humorous exercise, but we'll do it nonetheless. So lots and lots and lots to get to. Brian Kelly met with the media earlier today, gave a couple of injury updates. We'll talk about that. Saints had some unfortunate injury news that we got to earlier today as well. So we're loaded. Let's crank things up the way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
All right, LSU wins against Louisiana Tech on Saturday night, 23-7. And it was pretty uninspiring effort. It was, quite frankly, a pretty boring football game. But the questions that arise from it, I think, are interesting. And the questions are all on the offensive side of the football, because the defense was sensational. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But the offense is kind of where we have to start with this, because LSU only mustered 23 points on Louisiana Tech and had an early turnover, and the running game was inconsistent. You had some drives stall in the red zone, couldn't get the big plays going. It wasn't the type of effort that I certainly thought was coming. And I'll say this, I nailed the Clemson game. My analysis of that Clemson game pregame was, on point. My analysis of this Louisiana Tech game was pathetic and completely wrong in every way. I said all week long last week, LSU is going to come out in the home opener focused, locked in, and they are going to play exceptional from the word go on Saturday night. And the offense didn't. And so the question that arises, okay, what did we just watch on Saturday night then? Did we watch a team that was a little bit uninspired? Did we watch a team that was fired up, ready to roll against Clemson in a top 5 environment on the road and played great and then couldn't reach that level of focus and energy against Louisiana Tech, who's not any good? Did we watch a team that was too focused on the opener, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, and then didn't translate it to week 2? Did we watch a team that just didn't execute well? They just didn't play very well, but they will. Or did we watch a team that just isn't very good on offense? Any of those questions are a reasonable ask, and you can't get the information from Saturday's performance. You will learn as we move forward whether or not LSU is good on offense. Because now you have a sample size of 2 games, one against Clemson, where I could frame it very positive, but I could frame it kind of negatively. You scored 17 points. A lot of college football games are not won with 17 points at this point. LSU did not run the ball great at Clemson. They stuck to it, and they were consistent with their approach, but the productivity wasn't brilliant, and they didn't hit a bunch of deep balls. It was a lot of stuff around the line of scrimmage, and you got out of there because your defense was great, and you won 17-10. So now you come back and you play Louisiana Tech, and you just weren't great in this game either. You look at Nussmeier's effort, and it's 26 out of 41, 237 yards, threw a touchdown, had a pick, but nothing deep. You had the deep ball wide open on the first drive. Berrien Brown gets 4 steps on the Tech secondary, and Nussmeier just underthrew it. That's a guy with plenty of arm. He just made a bad throw. And then after that, you didn't get anything really down the field. But that's not the issue. The issue was not in the passing game. The issue is in the running game. And if you look at it just based on the stats, if you just look at the stats, you would say the running game was okay. You ran it 34 times. You had 128 yards, ran for a touchdown. That's okay. You had 3.8 yards per carry. Like, it's not good. You'd like it to be much better than that. But it's not a disaster. It wasn't like you ran it 34 times for 40 yards. You had 128 yards on the ground. But if you watched the game, you saw a running attack that was no good. You had Xavier Thomas on the jet sweep, bust it for 48, and that was good design, dynamic playmaker, great run. Awesome, good job. And you had Harlan Berry bust loose for a 43-yarder, which was really more just Harlan Berry making a guy miss and then using his speed to get to the outside. Wasn't executed flawlessly, but Harlan Berry's a dynamic player, so he got it done. And those two plays were really productive. And the other 32 runs were not. And, Jake Hester and I have gone back and forth on this, and certainly it would be wise for you to listen to the NFL running back instead of me on what constitutes a good running game and what shortcomings are big in a running game. But I still maintain my belief that it's okay to say, well, you had 2 great runs, but you had 32 bad ones. And I don't think that makes a positive running game. I'm not saying take those runs away. But I am saying that if you're going to rely on just busting a couple of 45-yard runs, I would rather have a consistent ground game that gets 5, 6, 7, 11 a lot than 2, -1, -3, 3, 0, -1, 50. Like, that's not, to me, sustainable. What you want is a consistent ground game, and they didn't have it. For Caden Durham against a Conference USA team, to have 13 carries and none of them go for more than 5 yards, and to finish the game with 13 carries and 29 yards rushing is awful. That's terrible. That's a terrible effort running the ball. Not Caden Durham's fault, the offense's fault. And I'm not here to tell you it's play calling. I'm not here to tell you the offensive line can't block. I'm not here to tell you how many guys were in the box on every running play. I'm telling you that the productivity was not good enough. And Brian Kelly gave his frustration on that on Saturday night after the game. He said, look, like, our effort was good. Our productivity was not good enough. That's what he said. And I believe that. It's a concern of mine if you can't line up and knock Louisiana Tech out of the way. You ought to be able to line up and knock Louisiana Tech out of the way. Now, this is a overarching theme, not necessarily pointing to a specific play, but this was very obvious to me sitting in the press box watching the game. Louisiana Tech was not going to let LSU beat them deep in the passing game. They were not going to let LSU hit the big play, and they played a big shell defense for a lot of the game. Not every snap, but a lot of the game. And theoretically, that should allow you some room to run the football underneath that. And I just don't think that LSU found it significantly enough. This team's never going to have an identity rooted completely in running the football. They're going to be an explosive passing team. They're going to be an efficient passing team. They need to run the ball as a complement to that. And they just didn't do it in this game, and that's frustrating. I thought a perfect encapsulation of this was LSU's final 3 plays of the night. You got a goal-to-go situation from inside the 5-yard line. You handed the ball off 3 times, once to Caleb Jackson, twice to Harlan Berry, and you could not punch the ball in against Louisiana Tech in the 4th quarter from inside the 5. That is no good. It's no good. And it's a problem for this team and this program over the last 3 years that you are not good at running the ball when teams know you're trying to run the ball. And that is a hallmark and a characteristic of championship football teams. And LSU as a program for 3 years has not had it. You had Jaden Daniels, who could wave a magic wand and make people miss and run the football in. But you have not been able to, quote unquote, traditionally pound the ball into the end zone from short yardage for 3 years. And that's frustrating. Now, again, I'm not suggesting that I'm certain that this team can't do that moving forward. I am leaving the door open for a little bit of a lack of motivation. I'm leaving the door open for Braylon Moore going out and that throwing a wrench in thing because he's your best offensive lineman. I'm leaving the door open for improvement over this team over the course of the next 10 ball games. But in leaving that door open, I'm also acknowledging that what you saw on Saturday wasn't good enough. Nussmeier wasn't great. He was inaccurate. That is going to get fixed. He's a great quarterback, and he's going to throw the ball better than he did on Saturday. I'm not concerned that LSU is dead last in the SEC in explosive passing plays. I've seen Barry Brown do that for 3 years at Kentucky. I've seen Chris Hilton do that when he's been healthy. I've seen Aaron Anderson do it last year. I've seen Garrett Nussmeier make those throws. I watched Nick Anderson highlights of him doing it 2 years ago at Oklahoma. Like, I know there is explosiveness in that passing game that will come out. I know that Garrett Nussmeier will throw the ball more accurately than he did on Saturday night. Those I have no concern about whatsoever. It was a bad night Saturday. I don't have concern about it moving forward. I don't know that they're going to be able to run the ball. That's the concerning thing. That is the concerning thing, absolutely. So these games happen every year. It happens every single year. We don't remember it. We don't talk about it. It's not brought up at the bar or at family dinner when LSU struggles with a non-conference game. It happens to every team. The 2007 team was awesome. They were national champions. They went to Tulane on a Saturday morning and just looked completely lifeless. They're a national championship team. The 2011 team, on the greatest run we'd ever seen to that point, they played Western Kentucky in November, and they were up 7 points at halftime. Like, just, it was a listless, lifeless effort. I've talked to Brandon Taylor about that game a few times. But no one remembers it because you remember going to Tuscaloosa and winning, and you remember blowing out all the teams in the SEC, and you remember the SEC championship win, and certainly, unfortunately, the national championship. But you don't remember the Western Kentucky game. It was awful. Every year, LSU runs into games like this. I mean, you saw the 2019 team kind of sleepwalk through a non-conference game. It happens every single year, and it happens to almost every single team. So this will likely just be a small footnote in whatever this year comes. It could be a harbinger of bad things to come in the ground game. I don't know what it is yet. And we'll get those answers as we move forward. But it was disappointing to watch LSU offensively. Brian Kelly talked today about how statistically it wasn't that bad. You outgained Louisiana Tech by 211 yards. You out first downed them 27-12. You held them on third downs to an anemic rate of 3 out of 13. You converted 9 of 16 on third down. You controlled time possession 36-23. They didn't score, but for right at the end when you busted an assignment with your second-team defense in there, like, statistically it looks okay on paper until you look at the scoreboard. But if you watched it, it was listless, it was lifeless, it was not very good on the offensive side. The defense was very, very good, and I want to talk about that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. our clients come first.
At Luva, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
LSU beat Louisiana Tech 23-7 on Saturday night. We lamented the offense's shortcomings there, but the defense really held up its end of the bargain. That's a game that LSU could have been a dogfight in if the defense did not bring great effort, but the Tigers absolutely did. Held Louisiana Tech to 154 total yards. One of my favorite stats from this game is that LSU held Louisiana Tech under 100 yards passing and under 100 yards rushing. Tech ran for 58 yards in the game and threw for 96 yards in the game. Only had 12 first downs. Only had the ball for 23 minutes and 8 seconds. It was really a cumulative effort from the LSU defense, and it was good at every level. West Weeks led the Tigers in tackles with 10, but Devon Keys was right there behind him with 9. Then you had Tamarcus Cooley from the secondary with 5, Jack Pyburn on the defensive front with 4. Then you had a group of 3 tackles with Jamari Butler, A.J. Halsey, Whit Weeks, Ahmad Bro, and then Walter Mathis, who's played a little bit for LSU as a freshman defensive lineman. They were all over the field and did not allow a quick-moving Louisiana Tech offense. Tech was just trying to get the ball out really quickly to make sure that the pass rush couldn't get home from LSU. Still, LSU did notch a couple sacks and had 5 tackles for loss, but they just kept everything in front of them and were really, really sure in their tackling. I thought it was an excellent effort from LSU start to finish, and this defense just looks really, really good. If you keep this in mind, Louisiana Tech did not attempt a snap in the red zone. They never got inside the 20. They had the one coverage bust that produced the touchdown down the right sideline, and LSU coaching staff was not super happy with that. But they could not move the ball really at all. You look at their drive chart in this game, they punted on 9 of their 11 possessions. They went 3 plays, 9 yards punt, 4 plays, 22 yards punt, 8 plays, 26 yards punt, 5 plays, 17 yards punt. Then they had the ball right before the half. It took a knee. But then they punted on their first 4 drives of the second half, 34 yards, -3 yards, 4 yards, -8 yards. Just nothing doing whatsoever for the Louisiana Tech offense. And that is this LSU defense backing up the excellent performance in Game 1 without a letdown in Game 2. This was one that was pretty easy to call. Louisiana Tech had a tough time moving the ball consistently against Southeastern the week prior. They scored 24 points in that game, but they had 7 of them on a scoop and score that went the other way, 80 yards. So the offense only mustered 17 points against Southeastern. You figure this was going to be a difficult matchup for LSU, but the guys for Louisiana Tech against LSU, but the guys really stepped up and really played very, very well. I think LSU is covering better than it has really since 2019, I think. Tech didn't try to do too much down the field, but they only completed 15 of their 26 throws. And when you consider how short the throws were, to have 15 completions equal 96 yards, like they were throwing things really close to the line of scrimmage, and LSU was still right there in a position to make plays on the football, which is just something we haven't seen a ton of over the last couple of years. They were credited with 5 pass breakups. Ashton Stamps had a couple of those. It was really good to see him get on the field. I think that he's got some ability. I told you a lot of August that I thought he had a good camp, but P.J. Woodland beat him out. And Mansour Delane is showing that he's the number 1 corner on this team. He had a pass breakup in the game. Stamps, of course, dropped the interception late in the game that would have been a nice touch for him. He does not have one in his 2 years as a starting cornerback for LSU. Had an opportunity to have one there and didn't make it happen. But LSU stuck with the Louisiana Tech wide receivers really all over the field all night. And I love the LSU defensive balance through 2 weeks. I wrote a story about this called Statistically Speaking up at LouisianaSports.net this morning that just kind of highlighted all of the positives with this LSU defense, and it's everybody making an impact. It's an entire group of 11, which is really deep as like 20 guys that are contributing. No one on the defense has more than 13 tackles on the year. Harold Perkins is the only defender that has multiple tackles for loss, but 10 players have been credited for a TFL. 8 players have broken up a pass. 6 Tigers have combined for LSU's 4 sacks. 8 Tigers have a hurry. It's a ton of guys that are making plays. And I'm not gonna like harp on holding a bad Louisiana Tech defense down, but I will tell you that like you watched LSU's defense last year allow Nichols to bust huge plays. There was none of that in this game. None of it. You're not letting guys get loose and make big plays. You're not busting assignments, and you're making plays. They're not necessarily relying on a ton of havoc, which I know Blake Baker wants to create. They're not having a ton of tackles for loss, a ton of sacks. But you're talking about only allowing one play of 30-plus yards. There are only 9 teams in the country that have done better than that have 0. So it's a defense that the players are telling us they're comfortable in. Brian Kelly alluded to that comfort today in his press conference, that in year 2 under Blake Baker, which was a big step forward at Missouri, has been to this point a big step forward for LSU. And you kind of wondered if LSU would validate their effort against Clemson against Louisiana Tech on Saturday, and they absolutely did. It's a tenacious, deep, and talented defense that I think looks really, really good. So if you want to look at some more numbers for LSU on the statistics on this defense, you can do that over at LouisianaSports.net. It was good to see A.J. Halsey out there for an entire game. It was good to see LSU rotating guys on the defensive front consistently, which they've done now for 2 weeks. And then it was good to see the secondary play the way that they did. I thought that LSU did a great job, again, against a bad team, but that can be a difficult thing to get your mental focus ready for, because it's kind of a boring offense where they're just flipping the ball out to the outside and trying to run quickly and not do too much down the field. But LSU never buckled until the very end when they put their second team out there. They would have potentially had a shutout. They're in the top 10 in scoring defense in the country after 2 weeks. So good stuff from the Fighting Tiger defense back on Saturday night. They've got a whole new challenge against Florida coming up this week, and we'll certainly talk about the Gators as we move forward. We'll talk about the Gators in the first segment of hour number 2, because that was a poor effort by Billy Napier's squad back on Saturday in the Swamp. I'll get to some injury news for LSU in the second hour, but I'll tell you what we learned today. I want to talk about the impact that it's going to have on this team in hour number 2. But Brian Kelly did meet with the media today. He did confirm what we reported on Sunday at LouisianaSports.net, that Trey'Dez Green has a sprained MCL. He was on crutches after the game, and is not considered a season-ending injury. They're going to keep him progressing through this week. He'll be questionable at this point for this week against Florida, but it's not something that should keep him out more than a couple of weeks at the absolute worst. So that's great news for LSU. And then Braylon Moore, who went out on the first play of the game, that looked bad. I was actually watching Braylon Moore when it happened. He got rolled up on and saw the injury right there in front of my eyes. He went into the locker room, had the x-ray. It was negative. Came back out on the field, tried to do some things, snapping the ball. Just didn't feel like it was a good idea to go back in the ball game. So at halftime, he put sweats on and never went back into the game. DJ Chester played the rest of the game at center. Brian Kelly said it's an ankle injury. He said it was not a high ankle sprain that requires a tightrope surgery. Y'all are familiar with that. The most famous instance of that with LSU football is Tua Tagovailoa in 2019 had the tightrope surgery and then played a couple weeks later against LSU in that great game in Tuscaloosa. But if it's a high ankle sprain, they do have a surgery. They can go in there and tighten it up, that tightrope, and after a couple of weeks, you're good to go. They did not feel like Braylon Moore's injury was significant enough to warrant that type of surgery. So they're just going to use some rest and some treatment. They're going to try to get him on the practice field on Tuesday of this week, see how he feels on Wednesday. They said he's questionable right now. They could upgrade him to probable as the week goes on. I think it's ambitious to put him out there against Florida, but if he feels good, he'll play. If he doesn't play against Florida, you would probably sit him against Southeastern, and then he'd be ready to go for Ole Miss. But right now, barring some kind of setback for Braylon Moore, you would absolutely consider him a very likely player against Ole Miss in 3 weeks. Potential that he could go this week against Florida. So when you see those two guys come off the field, you look at the injuries on the replay and you see them getting rolled up on, you fear the absolute worst in that instance with significant knee injuries. Moore's is an ankle. He's okay. Tradez is a sprain of the MCL. He may take a little bit longer, but all in all, the MRIs that those two guys got on Sunday are positive reports for LSU. So that's a very, very good thing as you move into start of conference play coming up on Saturday. All right, that's a look at LSU for the first 30 minutes. If you want LSU coverage, you can find it at LouisianaSports.net. Certainly all my stuff as well online at Hunt on LSU. You can find that at YouTube, wherever you find your podcasts. We'll switch over to the Saints here. Got our auction segment. We got a couple injuries, obviously, there to talk about here in 15 minutes with the folks over there at Auctioner. Still got to talk SEC football, and I want to talk about those injuries a little bit further in the second hour when we see what LSU's going to do without those guys, as you saw them kind of try to navigate that a little bit on Saturday. But what would it look like without Braylon Moore and Tradez Green on Saturday? We'll talk about that in the hour number 2. Let's take a time out. We'll come back. We'll talk about the Hoodats, who got off to an 0-1 start on Sunday. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group. HighlandIG.com is that website. It is still storm season. It's been quiet around here. That's a very good thing. But do you know that your insurance policy is ready should something happen in the Gulf? If not, let the Highland Insurance Group audit your policy for free. Free. It doesn't cost you anything for them to make sure that your coverage is right. I know a lot of business owners. I was in the insurance business. I know a lot of folks just flipped to that back page of the proposal. What's the premium? When's it coming out? Okay. But you need to know what the fine print says. What are the exclusions? What's your wind hail deductible? Is it a named storm deductible? Do you have co-insurance penalties? How did you evaluate your business, your buildings? All those things are vital when a storm blows through. Not to mention cyber attacks, lawsuits, car accidents, umbrella limits, whatever the case may be. The Highland Insurance Group has a team of experts that just go through policies and make sure they're properly written. If you don't know whether or not your policy is properly written, contact Jonathan Carbo and his team at the Highland Insurance Group. They're based right here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. It's the Highland Insurance Group. You can find them online at HighlandIG.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even JB could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of JB Falgu.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hope your work week is off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Busy Monday. A couple football games in the rearview mirror. LSU gets a win on Saturday night. Time to talk a little bit of Saints. New Orleans gets off to an 0-1 start, just coming up short against the Arizona Cardinals. Juwan Johnson had his hands on the football in the end zone with a chance to potentially tie that game or go for 2 and win it in the opener, but couldn't control the football off the ground, and the Saints come up short against the Cardinals after a fade route flies out of bounds to Chris Olave. You know, I'm not going to give a disclaimer before we start every single Saints game this year, but I'll start with one here. Generally our Saints breakdowns are going to be pretty much big picture because the minutia of the 2025 season is likely insignificant. Could the Saints make the playoffs? Sure. Am I projecting that right now? I'm not. I don't think the Saints are going to have a great team this year. But you need to see growth from the coach and young players. And sometimes that's going to come in losses, and sometimes it's going to come in wins. They're going to win some games. I said on Friday I thought they had a chance to compete in this game, and they did. Defense played well. You got great performances by some of your older players. Demario Davis was brilliant. Cam Jordan was brilliant. But ultimately, it wasn't quite enough to win the game. But they will win some games. In this game, 2 things stood out to me beyond the scoreboard. The first is this is Kellen Moore's first game as a head coach. His first time wearing that headset with those decision-making opportunities. And not using timeouts at the end of the first half is unacceptable. Unacceptable. When the Cardinals get 1st and goal at the 5-yard line with 1:16 left and you've got 3 timeouts, you must call one immediately after the first play. You must. With 3 timeouts and 1:16 to go, you can get the ball back with a minute to play. A minute is an eternity in the NFL. Did you watch the game last night between the Ravens and Bills? A minute is an hour. You've got to call timeouts. You're not at that when they get into a goal to go situation, they can't run clock they've only get 3 more plays and then a fourth to either kick it or go for it. Like, they can't further the drive anymore. So you got to preserve the time. That's a wasted possession. In a league where every point spread is 2.5, 4.5, every one. I realize this one was 6.5, but you get the point. Like, a possession is everything. And that could have made a huge difference in this game. Now, I realize there are going to be some people that go, well, Spencer Rattler is second-year quarterback. You don't want to force the issue there. You're in the game. And so you don't want to, maybe get a turnover late and then, Arizona scores a couple times before the half. And I don't want to hear any of that. This is the starting quarterback of an NFL football team who is not a rookie. Even if he was a rookie, I wouldn't want to hear it. But I certainly don't want to hear it for a second-year player. You ought to be able to manage yourself and with a minute to go, get yourself into field goal range. Field goal range is like the 40-yard line. Considering your kickoff, like, you're talking about getting 40 yards in a minute? That's pretty doable. So I hated Kellen Moore, 1, not calling the timeouts, and then 2, getting asked about it on the way to the locker room and just having no answer whatsoever, just babble through, yeah, did a pretty good job bleeding the clock down. Bleeding the clock down, they bled the clock down because you didn't call a timeout. They can't bleed the clock down if you call timeout. So I didn't like that at all. It's his first game. It's not going to cost him the Super Bowl. If he learns from it, great. We'll be monitoring it. But he's the head coach now. You gotta know when to steal a possession there, and he had an opportunity to do it. The other one, and I think a lot of people immediately pin this on coaching. I'm more reluctant to do that in some instances. But the Saints had 13 penalties for 89 yards in this game. That is unacceptable. A lot of pre-snap penalties. Cesar Ruiz getting penalties. I'm not going to blame coaches oftentimes for penalties. I'm not going to blame coaches for holding penalties. I'm not going to blame coaches for pass interference. There are instances where I'm not even going to blame coaches for delay a game. If you got a wide receiver that can't get set and you're not in the proper formation, okay, well, let's talk about that. If you've got too many guys on the field, let's talk about that. Like, there are instances where the coaches have certainly got to shoulder some blame. Sometimes you don't, but a lot of times the preparation is indicative of what the coach has done, and 13 penalties for 89 yards in an NFL game is just unacceptable. Cannot have that. Those are 2 big takeaways. Now let's get to some of the other things. Certainly we got to talk quarterback, right? You got to talk about Spencer Rattler. And I thought he was okay. I mean, we're singing his praises in a big way if Juwan Johnson comes down with that play to help either tie the game or give you a chance to win it by going for 2. And I would have gone for 2 if they scored. But that was a heck of a throw. It was a nice drive to get down there in that position. And it changes the narrative, I think, if he catches the ball. And that has nothing to do with what Spencer Rattler did. So I want to make sure that it's not. I want to make sure that we just analyze what he did. He was all right. And that would have been a great, great, great drive that capped if Johnson makes the catch. They got bailed out on an interception because of a penalty. And a lot of checkdowns. But checkdowns are okay. Checkdowns keep you on schedule. Checkdowns generally gain yards. And when you've got some guys that have made a career out of taking short throws and making them into bigger plays, like Alvin Kamara has, and certainly Chris Olave's had experience with that as well, I'm okay with checking the ball down some. The 13 points is not great on your home field against a decent Cardinals defense, but I thought he looked pretty poised, and I thought his play at the end of the game was pretty good. So for Rattler, I'd give him a B- in the game. I thought he did a pretty good job. Now, one thing that you would not get from the stat sheet that you would get just from the eyeball test watching the game, I loved what Kendre Miller looked like. Now, you look at the stat sheet, 5 carries, 24 yards, you're like, huh? Who cares? But if you watched it, there's some burst. There, you can see he's the guy they took with the draft pick, right? And I wrote Kendre Miller off last year because of the way that Dennis Allen handled him. And that was a mistake on my part because that seems like it was a Dennis Allen issue as much as it was a Kendre Miller issue. I'm not absolving Kendre Miller from coming to camp likely out of shape and getting hurt on the first rep. But beyond that, like, the coach didn't do him any favors. Kept him on IR when he was ready to go. trashed him to the media. It was clear that Dennis Allen had an axe to grind with Kendre Miller, and that's gone now. And he's going to get a chance, and I thought he looked good in the game. We saw him in the preseason with a nice kick return. There's a burst there. There's an explosiveness there. I like what I've seen from Kendre Miller. The offensive line from the Saints, I did not like. Fuaga goes out. He's hurt. Ruiz just looks completely lost in the run game. It was an up-and-down day for Banks. It was an uneven effort from the offensive line, and that is going to hamper your ability to run the football. And the Saints' running game was okay, 22 carries for 107 yards. That's good enough to win an NFL game, but it wasn't certainly dominant, and it wasn't the type of effort that I need from this offensive line if the Saints are going to be a functional offense this year, because you need the guys that you took really high picks on to be really good players. And I did not think it was a great day for the offensive line on Sunday afternoon in the Dome. Defensively, I saw a lot that I liked. I loved Demario Davis's play. I thought he was great. Couple tackles for loss, 9 stops. I thought Cam Jordan, sack and a half, probably could have been 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. That looked good. But that's the old guys. What about the young guys? And Kool-Aid's chasing Marvin Harrison Jr. around, and that's a hard thing to do. And he struggled doing it at some plays, but Harrison got loose a couple times. And then the worst news of the day was that Julian Blackmon is hurt and is out for the year with a torn labrum. That's a guy that you got late. You really think you found something there, potential young-ish piece to your team on the back end of the defense to pair with Reed, and now he's out for the year. So you're going to see more of Jordan Howden now. We'll see what that looks like. But I thought the defense played pretty well. Holding Arizona to 20 points is good enough to win a lot of the time. But Blake Grupe misses a field goal. You're not able to hold on late, and that's a huge bummer. Brian Brzee, hat tip on a ridiculously athletic play to block that field goal. I thought that was incredible.
He did that last year, too.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete. I mean, at that size, to do that was really, really good. Isaac Yiadom had his significant issues trying to cover as well. I want to see more from the young players on defense, but I thought overall, nice job by that group to hold the Cardinals to 20 points. Disappointing to lose late, but some good things, some things they've got to clean up and work on, and then obviously the injury news, which really sucks with Blackmon going out. But look, it's a long season, and you're in the infancy of this rebuild. I want to see Kellen Moore make adjustments to his ability to get timeouts called properly. I want to see more from Spencer Rattler in terms of playmaking. But there's a lot to like about the game. Unfortunately, you come out on the wrong end and you're 0-1. Have San Francisco coming into the Dome coming up this week. But we'll talk a little bit more about the Saints as we move forward. Let's step aside. When we come back, we'll talk some injuries. Folks over at Auctioner. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is that website. Every car that is on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. Tell you every single week, every single day, really, about America's best warranty. That's what they boast, and that's what they back up. You're talking about a powertrain warranty for 10 years, 100,000 mile, bumper to bumper, 5 years, 60,000 miles. That is industry leading there. But also enhanced 24/7 roadside assistance for 5 years or unlimited miles, complimentary scheduled maintenance for 3 years, 36,000 miles, and they make that maintenance valet, which is so convenient and just part of the experience of being a Genesis driver. Go by and see them, Airline at PQ. Test drive one of their vehicles. I highly recommend the GV80. It's their SUV. If you got a family, it's got enough room for you. It's so comfortable, drives so well, and it's not a HA top safety pick, which means it's one of the safest cars on the road. Genesis of Baton Rouge, Airline at PQ, or online at genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, closing up hour number 1 here on this Monday. Sports Health, presented by Auctioneer Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Got a chance to chat with Dr. Geoffrey Hogan, sports medicine there at Auctioneer. He's an expert in non-operative management of orthopedic, musculoskeletal, and sports injuries. He joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Dr. Hogan, how are you?
I'm doing well, hon. How are you today? Thanks for having me.
Doing quite well. It's our pleasure. I know the theme of the day over at LSU was injuries, and certainly we don't talk about specific cases, but I just want your general knowledge on some of the things that we saw back on Saturday. You know, high ankle sprain is a nasty word in the sports world. I know the tightrope procedure has been something that's kind of been in vogue in recent years, so that's not something that LSU decided to do in Braylon Moore's case. But what can you tell us about the severity of ankle sprains?
Yeah, ankle sprains kind of, I mean, there's a pretty wide range of them, but like you were talking about getting into those high ankle sprains, that's when we start dealing with injuries to the ligaments between the lower bones of the leg, the tibia and the fibula, and you get a pretty nasty stretch and sometimes tearing of those ligaments and quite a bit of pain, instability at times, and it can make it a lot more difficult to deal with than just kind of what we would consider like a standard sprain.
Does the fact that LSU decided not to do surgery, is that an indication of the severity of the injury? Is it more of an indication of where it is?
It's hard to tell, again, there's not knowing the specifics of the case with it, but it could be both. It could be kind of dealing with the severity of it or kind of how much of that ligament is involved. There's a lot of factors that kind of go into play. With that, other timing is, consider where we are at, where in that season. You got quite a bit of time left. That may be playing a role as well.
No question. We're chatting with Dr. Geoffrey Hogan from Auctioneer. MCL sprain, that was the diagnosis that they gave for Trey'Dez Green. What can you tell us about those injuries?
Thankfully, that's all it was, just an isolated MCL. We're looking pretty good. Those are, if you're going to have a ligament injury, that's not the worst one to have. Usually we're looking at like a grade 1 or a grade 2, just kind of stretch or some partial tearing of that ligament on the inside of the knee. And most of the time that's not requiring surgery to fix. It's a period of putting them in a good brace, getting them some good rehab. Hopefully within 6 weeks, we're looking pretty good at return to play. That's kind of typically what we're looking at for a grade 2 type injury. But again, I'm not sure quite where his is at.
Right, I know, and everyone I think is aware that we're not speaking in specifics to cases. We're not going to have doctors come on and speak about things that happen on the table, but just in generalities. In with these injuries, more often than not, are you looking at pain tolerance, or are you looking at the actual functionality of the legs?
These two both are definitely more about the functionality. You need kind of the stability of those joints when they're out on the field, when they're running, cutting, making their maneuvers. Every player is dealing with some degree of pain almost at all times. So pain tolerance certainly comes into it, but we really want to stress the importance of the stability of that joint, especially at their positions.
We appreciate a little bit of your expertise there. Exciting stuff coming up this weekend. The Cleveland Browns doctor coming down to Baton Rouge to speak. I know you all are excited about having him down.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to start kind of getting some guest lecturers regularly around here. So Dr. Joseph Kelsey coming down from Cleveland to help impart his wisdom on us, talk about kind of the latest innovations with wearable technology in sports medicine and some of the advances in orthobiologic treatments we have to get these sports injuries to heal faster, safer, and get people back.
Wearables. Can you go a little bit more in detail about what that would entail?
There's a lot of different things, whether it's something you're wearing on your wrist, tracking heart rate, something you're kind of more on your chest, like a lot of our athletes are doing, that you can get a lot more kind of biologic data just in real time, where you're looking at heart rates, you're looking at speeds, you can track sleep patterns, you can really track a lot of different things. And so it's about how we use that information properly, and where it's important, and how we can implement that into injury prevention programs, and then kind of injury treatment and rehabilitation programs as well. My personal, focus on concussions. We're trying to figure out different ways we can use wearables to, one, prevent concussions, but also trying to figure out how to get people kind of safely cleared from those as well.
Dr. Hogan, we certainly appreciate some time. Have a great week.
Thank you. Y'all too.
He is Dr. Geoffrey Hogan at Sports Health, presented by Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. It's still hot outside. Folks at Auctioner want to remind everyone that if you experience any sort of symptoms that may be related to heat exhaustion, to stop physical activity immediately. Remember to hydrate for sure before and during physical activity. Folks at Auctioner are always looking out for us here in the Baton Rouge area, and we appreciate them giving us some time every other Monday for our sports health segment. So, look, again, and I want to stress this because it's important. Like, we are not going to have the folks from Auctioner come on and speak to individual cases with injuries, but I do think that there is great information there, and for him to say, I'm not talking specifically about Trey'Dez, but like if you're going to have a knee issue, like the MCL strained ligament, that's one you're looking at that is less severe. And it's easy for us to sit here and say, well, it's not your knee that hurts, but like, hey, that's good to hear that. And then you heard Brian Kelly's update earlier today that they, that they have him questionable for this week, but they're hoping that progresses throughout the week. I think that football coaches are a little aggressive with their reports that way, that they're always getting close to coming back to the field. I'm not saying that he's out there like out and out lying like Les Miles often did about injuries, but I think that when you were in the stadium on Saturday, if you were watching and you saw Braylon Moore come out and then you saw Trey'Dez Green come out in a leg brace and on crutches, you fear the worst. We've seen enough football where you go, well, lower leg injury, knee injury, like that's could be the year, and it's week 2. So to hear that neither of those is going to be a season-long injury and that their return is in potentially Braylon Moore's case pretty quick, that's good news to hear, and we appreciate Dr. Hogan for coming on and giving us a little bit of information here on this Monday. Fast-moving first hour. Talked about LSU on the defensive side of the football, talked about LSU on the offensive side of the football. You can find both of those at Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your podcast, certainly on YouTube as well. Also broke down Saints and Cardinals, talked about them at the bottom of the hour. You can catch that at Hunt on Saints. Ross Jackson got a lot of news up at LouisianaSports.net, currently on the Black and Gold, so I invite you to go check all of that out on demand. We got a lot to do in hour number 2 as well. When we come back after SportsCenter, we're going to talk about my picks on Saturday. Jacob Beck was taunting me via text message on Saturday.
I don't know if I'd say taunting. I don't know about that.
Outwardly taunting.
That may be exaggerated.
And mocking my picks on Saturday.
It was deserved. Let's just be honest.
Okay, well, look, we'll talk about it at the top of the hour. We also want to talk about what LSU does from an injury perspective with this Trey'Dez Green and Braylon Moore situation. Also, Denton Day, SiriusXM College Football Radio, going to be with us at 2:30. So we'll step aside, get you some national headlines, news of the day, which I'm sure will be lots of NFL, and then we will get back to some college football with our thoughts on the SEC. Got to talk about Sunbelt Billy, what happened in Gainesville. Come back with us on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com. Brand new here in Baton Rouge. If you're into golf, no matter your skill level, Swing Easy Golf Club is an awesome spot for you. You can work on your game no matter the weather conditions outside, if it's 1,000 degrees or if it's raining or if it's 25 degrees, it gets dark at 5 o'clock like we'll get to in December and January. The bays at Swing Easy Golf Club, always ready to rock, and you can work on your game there with the driving range mode, or it's a great place to hang out and socialize. Grab a beer, grab a glass of wine, hit some golf shots, play Pebble Beach, play Cypress Point, play St. Andrews, one of those famous golf courses in the world right there on their simulators. It's a great place, a great environment, and an awesome spot to hang out or work on your golf game. They're Segan at Perkins at Swing Easy Golf Club. You can find them online at swingeasygcbr.com. Swing Easy Golf Club, swingeasygcbr.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family-owned and community-driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. No change at quarterback for the Giants for Sunday's game against the Cowboys. Coach Brian Daboll told reporters today Russell Wilson will remain the starter for Week 2. Wilson 17 of 37 for 168 yards, 0 touchdowns or interceptions in the loss at Washington. ESPN NFL analyst Damian Woody.
Brian Daboll should think about benching Russell Wilson for the rookie Jackson Dart. Listen, Russell Wilson didn't lose his game yesterday in Washington. But the one thing you could clearly see, this is a guy that just lacks any type of athletic ability. He's playing behind a shoddy offensive line.
The 49ers agreed to a one-year deal with receiver Kendrick Bourne as Juwan Jennings deals with a left shoulder injury. Week 1 of the NFL season caps off with the Bears and Vikings on Monday Night Football, 8:15 Eastern, ABC and ESPN. Ben Johnson makes his Chicago head coaching debut, while Minnesota quarterback J.J. McCarthy makes his NFL debut. Tennessee starting cornerbacks Jermad McCoy and Ricky Gibson III won't play against number 6 Georgia on Saturday due to injuries.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Tuesday. The Packers and the Bills look great in Week 1, but did they do enough to take over the number 1 spot in my power rankings? That's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from downtown Baton Rouge, this is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Denton Day, 30 minutes from right now, talking about the week that was in college football. Just got a text from my wife. She wants me to get the supplies to make pumpkin spice French toast.
Oh, my goodness, Hunt.
The high on Saturday is 96. I just don't know that we've eased into fall. I realized this morning when folks got out of bed, it was in the 60s, but like, pumpkin spice French toast. It's I was sweating bullets on Saturday.
It does not matter, Hunt. You know why? Because Starbucks is currently selling the pumpkin spice latte, and that's all that matters to white females right now.
All right. Well, I don't know that I'm going to purchase this pumpkin
you
spice.
You're going to have to
stuff.
get it, Hunt. You're going to have to do it.
I might.
You're going to have
to. Really, anything to not talk about my picks from Saturday. But let's do it. Let's get into them. Beck, do you have the requisite sound effects back there?
Yeah.
Well, you only need one, really.
Pretty much.
Let's just go through briefly. San Jose State at Texas. I took the Longhorns minus 36.5. That did not cover. Battle of the Aggies. I took Utah State plus 31.5. Bang, baby, that hit. I believe the term I used on Friday was Vegas doesn't know anything. I know everything.
You did actually say that.
And I said that easily the Ole Miss Rebels would win by 25 points, that the 8.5 was a ridiculous line. So I took Ole Miss minus 8.5. They did not cover. Shout out to Coach Stoops for kicking that extra point, kicking that field goal at the end of the game to cover. Lane Kiffin mentioned it on the broadcast. I took Kansas and their quarterback, Jalen Daniels, plus 6.5. That didn't hit. Thought Sunbelt Billy would get it done, minus 17 and a hook. They didn't even win. I took the Arkansas State Red Wolves, plus 23.5. They lost by 1,000. Thought that Arizona State would cover the 6.5 in Starkville. They did not.
They didn't win.
They did not win. They lost. Then I thought that I would take Oklahoma, Brent Venables against Bryce Underwood, and minus 5.5. I like that. That's a winner, baby. And I took Auburn minus 43.5. Nope, they couldn't cover against Ball State. Took Virginia Tech laying 2.5 at home.
That was looking good for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, that did not look good. They got
Anchor
annihilated by Vanderbilt in the second half. And then I took ULM plus 34.5. Well, they lost by 73, so that's not even close. That's a 2-9 week, Beck.
It is.
How do you recover from that?
Go 9-2 the next week.
I don't like my chances of doing that.
I don't either.
People ask me all the time. I get this question so often. Like, you like cover sports? Like, you don't bet on sports? No, because I can't beat Vegas. I do this crap all the time. 2-9. I got asked by Marler to pick straight up winners on opening weekend of college football. There were 5 games, just winners, no spreads. I went 1-4. You think I'm going to take the money that is in my checking account and wager that against Las Vegas? That's not going to go well. That's why I don't bet on sports.
Yeah.
I get into a pick'em every year with my buddies for like $100 for the season. And then I think I usually have like a couple of props for the Super Bowl just because I don't care who wins the game, so you might as well have something. This is why I don't bet sports, because I have no chance to win.
No chance.
But let's talk about some of the storylines from the SEC. Where should I start there? What's the biggest storyline from the SEC?
I think it's got to be Florida.
Okay. Dan Wolken called Florida a charade of a program in his misery index on Sunday. Now, we all, myself very much included, wrote Billy Napier off last year in October. And they rallied and won some games. But the fact of the matter is that when you look at their schedule and you look at a loss to South Florida where they scored 16 points, do you know what the next 4 games for Florida are?
Not easy.
At LSU, at Miami, who's number 5 in the country, Texas, at Texas A&M, number 16 in the country. Their next 4 games are number 3 in the country, number 5 in the country, number 7 in the country, number 16 in the country. And they just lost to South Florida. I haven't even gotten to a game against Georgia that's not at home, to a game at Ole Miss, to Tennessee, to number 10 Florida State. Like, I haven't even gotten there. This just doesn't seem possible to me. I just don't see how you can recover from this. He's got playmakers. Jaden Ball, who we're going to talk about this week a lot, is as good a running back as there is in the SEC. He's got a 5-star quarterback who's not a freshman anymore. He's got Trey Wilson, who is a former 5-star recruit on the outside.
Eugene?
Right, the third. He's got dudes. They scored 16 points on South Florida. That's just pathetic. And like, I realize that we're talking about LSU's next opponent, so you got to like realize what you're doing here, because I dismissed Louisiana Tech all week last week, and LSU didn't really show up to play. But like, I just don't see a way that Billy Napier can survive this.
It's just
if he does, it's just dollars and cents, and Florida just doesn't want to commit the resources to it.
And at LSU, Florida should have won this game at the end. So not only did South Florida also miss a field goal before that last drive, but then Florida,
and then Napier threw the ball.
Yes,
and ran 11 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, they ran no time off the clock, and then South Florida gets the ball incomplete on the first down, then pass interference, then unsportsmanlike conduct on Florida. That's great. You love that. And then they pop the 30-yard pass, and that at that point they're pretty much within field goal range.
Florida had 11 penalties for 103 yards.
You can't do that.
It's just at that place there's too many resources is a general term, and I realize that Florida was really late to the game on facilities and NIL. So it's not a layup, but you got to do better than what he's doing. And right now you're talking about a guy that's in year 4, and they can't beat South Florida at home, and they haven't been a 9-win team at all in his tenure. So I don't think that the situation is tenable for Billy Napier at Florida. Now, on the flip side, heck of a job by Jeff Lebby in Mississippi State. Now, I don't know what defense Arizona State was in to allow that touchdown pass with 30 seconds to go, but having a guy one-on-one that once the catch is made, there's no safety anywhere to be seen when Mississippi State's got to go down the field. that was an odd call to have that coverage out there. I'm not saying drop 8 guys 30 yards from the line of scrimmage, but like, how about some help over the top? But what the story of this game to me is not that. That may have been what decided it, but the story of this game to me is that Mississippi State's defense played great. This was the worst defense in the SEC by astronomical proportions last year. Brian Haydad sat down with us in Atlanta for SC Media Days and laid out a stat that, like, Mississippi State, the difference between them at number 16 in the conference and number, 13 in the conference was this just astronomical. Like, they were so far and away the worst team, it wasn't even close. And they held Arizona State with Sam Leavitt at quarterback, who's a returning playoff quarterback, to 20 points. That's a great effort defensively. They just punished Arizona State in the first half. They only allowed 3 points in the first half. You look at Miss Arizona State, 3 of 14 on third down. Sam Leavitt threw for 82 yards in the game. He completed 3.2 yards per attempt, which is awesome defensively. And Mississippi State, did a great job. They gave up 251 rushing yards, but 20 points, that'll get it done. Generally speaking, Jeff Lebby is going to be able to scheme up 24 points worth of offense, and he did on this night. So it's going to be a long year for Mississippi State, and I'm not willing to move them significantly up in the power rankings tomorrow, because on Wednesday they still got to play Tennessee, they still got to play A&M. They've got a lot coming down the pike with the back end of this schedule. Always got to finish, obviously, with Ole Miss. They've got to play Texas. They've got to play Georgia. It's going to be a slog, and they may not win a league game again. I think they probably will. Never know what Florida's doing or what state they could be in at that point. Can they beat Arkansas on the road? Maybe. But as I look at their schedule right now, there are still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ranked opponents on that schedule left. So wins are going to be tough to come by, but they played tough, they played hard, and they made a couple great plays late in the game to get the late touchdown and to get the interception to seal it. So hat tip to Jeff Lebby and that squad. I thought Oklahoma looked good. I couldn't watch all of it because I'm watching LSU and covering that game. But what I did see, and then statistically, and then what I saw in the highlights, they look pretty good. Their defense flies around. They've got a good scheme there, and Mateer is electrifying. He's a good athlete. He makes highlight reel plays. He has brought a level of energy and playmaking ability that Oklahoma was just completely devoid of last year, completely. And it wasn't a work of art. Michigan still got a good defense, and they put up 24 points on them. And I felt like that they were going to make things tough on Michigan defensively with a freshman quarterback, and they did that. I thought that was really, really good. And I think Oklahoma has got a chance to be a playoff team this year. I don't think they will be. I think their schedule's too difficult, and I think they'll fall short of that. But they've got some ingredients. They've got a defense. They've got a quarterback. They've got a shot, and I think that was a nice win for them on their home field against Michigan. I guess last piece to the puzzle here that we'll talk about before we get back to LSU, Ole Miss, Kentucky. This game just shocked me. It shocked me that Kentucky hung in it as long as they did. I have zero respect for the talent level in that program right now, and I feel like Ole Miss should be significantly better. I made a big stink about it on Friday, and that would not have gotten home because they kept it within 7, and I'm stunned by that. Stunned.
Yeah, it was shocking. I think the takeaway is Vegas just always seems to know. They always do.
I don't have a theory on that, but I do have a practice that I will put into my life moving forward.
Okay.
I'm not going to bet them.
Okay, that's probably a good idea.
I will bet emotional hedges from time to time. I'm going off-site for the pregame show in a couple of weeks. I'll probably put a small bet on the other side just so if LSU loses, I'll collect cash. That's the extent of my sports gambling. I did it last year for the A&M game. Was reluctant, had to schlep over to the frickin' window and grab my $100 that I didn't want because A&M punked LSU in the second half. The only way I'm going to bet is to emotionally hedge financially against my heartbreak. Because I know that I can't beat them.
I'm not surprised at all that you fail to mention and give any sort of justice for Missouri or Vanderbilt.
Forgot they
played. Great
Forgot
wins
they played.
Yeah, sure you did.
Missouri's offense looks good.
Yeah.
Tribula was awesome in the game. 30 of 39. Scored 42 points. That's good work. And then Vanderbilt, man.
That second half was very they scored 34 points in the second half. Yeah.
34 unanswered. It was 20-10 at halftime. I was thinking, yeah, that's about what I expected.
Yeah.
And then, bam. Clark Lee's done a good job. Clark Lee said, I still don't think they have good players. But they've done a good job. Maybe they do have good players.
Maybe they do.
What do I know? Not very much, obviously. All right, when we come back, we'll talk some LSU football. What do they do with these injuries? If you missed the injury reports, we'll give those to you when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If your home is 20, 25, 30 years old, maybe time to look into getting some new work done in the bathroom. That's about the time where a lot of the bathroom fixtures start to fail. And if you're noticing that, whether it's aesthetically or just functionally, call David Vaughn One Bath and Closets to let them come in and help you. They do tub-to-shower conversions all the time. They can take out your shower. They can build a new shower. They can take out your tub. They can put in a new tub. They can handle all of it. You don't have to call 3 different contractors. You call One Bath and Closets. They've been at it 30 years. They're licensed, bonded, insured. They got a master plumber. They can handle your bathroom renovation from start to finish. If that's something you're interested in looking at, check it out online, onebathandclosets.com. Contact David. Get that free consultation out of the way. Move forward. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online, onebathandclosets.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our...
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
issues with the mic over there, Hunt?
It just doesn't stay where it needs to.
Yeah.
Tends to
just fall.
We don't like that.
No.
I was really choosing my words carefully as I had that discussion. But yeah, I'd like it to
is there like
stay
a little,
closer to.
Is there not like a little like something you can tighten up there?
It's tightened all the way. I think it's just a little bit
just
a little bit worn,
strength,
a little bit weathered. That's all right. I've got the ability to keep it in the right place. Let's talk about these injuries. Obviously, they were part of the huge story on Saturday. Braylon Moore got rolled up on the first play of the game. Then Trey'Dez Green in the second half had basically the same thing happen to him while he was blocking on a running play. And those were scary injuries. You see guys get rolled up, and you often fear the worst. For those that missed this earlier today, what we reported yesterday at LouisianaSports.net was also echoed by Brian Kelly today. Both Braylon Moore and Trey'Dez Green had MRIs on Sunday, and Brian Kelly called the results positive. Certainly they're injured, and that's a bummer, but it's not quote-unquote catastrophic. You're not going to have season-ending injuries here. Braylon Moore has an ankle issue. I think it's a sprain. Maybe a high ankle sprain, maybe not a high ankle sprain. Either way, he did not have the tightrope surgery, which would indicate the most severe high ankle sprain. He was in a walking boot on Saturday, and they're going to let him try to practice tomorrow. He's questionable for the game on Saturday. Trey'Dez Green has got a sprained MCL in his knee. He was on crutches on Saturday night. That is probably a little bit more serious than Braylon Moore's injury in terms of time missed. He's questionable for the game on Saturday as well. I would be shocked if he plays on Saturday. With Braylon Moore out, it's pretty obvious you go right to DJ Chester. That impacts your offensive line. I don't know any other way to say it. Braylon Moore is your best offensive lineman. He really played well against Clemson, and your offensive line is not as good if Braylon Moore is not in the middle of it. DJ Chester is experienced. It's not as if he hasn't played, and he went in there and handled himself okay on Saturday. But you need Braylon Moore back, and so you look at the timeline for LSU. If he doesn't play this week against Florida, like the next week is Southeastern, which no one needs to play, and then you've got Ole Miss before the bye week. So I feel like the target for Braylon Moore should be Ole Miss. Would I be shocked if he plays on Saturday? I would not be shocked. I don't know how severe the injury is. We don't know that. And it sounds like they're going to try to practice him, but I don't know that I would be in a hurry to do that in this game. And if he doesn't play against Florida, under no circumstance would I put him out there against Southeastern. Now, here's the deal. This is something I've had to learn in talking to players. We as fans, and certainly as folks that cover this, are thinking about the season as a whole and saying, hey, you don't need Braylon Moore to play against Southeastern. Like, just hold him out of that game, even if he feels okay. And the other side of that is these guys get up at 4 a.m. They run all summer in the heat. They grind through the long hours of fall camp. They're at study hall. They're at practice. They're at film. They're in rehab. They do so much stuff all year, and they've got 12 times to play. And if Braylon Moore is not healthy enough to go against Florida, but 7 days later, Southeastern comes to town and he is healthy, like, they're going to send him out there because you only get to play 12 times. So I wouldn't. I don't think it's in the best interest of LSU's goals to send him out there, but if he's healthy, he's going to play. So we'll see. I would hold him till Ole Miss. It sounded like from what Brian Kelly said today, they're going to target Florida, potentially Southeastern, and then Ole Miss would be the for sure answer there. But they need him back in the middle of that offensive line, and they need him back as quickly as he can get back. Trey'Dez Green's going to miss a little time, and you can't replace him. You cannot replace Trey'Dez Green. It's not possible because you don't have anybody else that's 6'7" that can jump like a basketball player. That person doesn't exist. You've got Bauer Sharp, who's physical and can help in the passing game. You've got Donovan Green, who transferred him to Texas A&M, who's a bigger frame, can help with blocking, and is functional in the passing game. He was Texas A&M's newcomer of the year in 2021. And those guys will handle the 2 tight end sets, and they're veterans, and they'll be fine. But you lose a significant mismatch. We have not seen the last of LSU going to Trey'Dez Green in a formation that really puts a lot of pressure on other defenses to deal with him. You saw it a bunch at Clemson. He got 2 pass interference calls, one set up a touchdown, one touchdown he scored later. Like, he's a problem. And you're going to see more of that. You didn't see it against Louisiana Tech, which brings into to question, like, how vanilla were things on Saturday. But you don't have anybody that you can replace him with. Like, Nick Anderson brings some size, but I don't think you're going to take the Trey Green playbook with the 4 wide receivers right, Trey Green left, make them decide what they're going to do, and then throw in the live. I don't think you're going to do that with Nick Anderson, but you need Trey Green to come back and be healthy. Braylon Moore can maybe play a little bit gimpy because he gives you something cerebral up front, and he's in a phone booth, and he's just got to be physical, and if he's a little bit gimpy on that ankle, fine. If Trey Green is not at 100% and can't jump like he normally does, can't run like he normally does, like, he becomes less effective, and you've got so many pass catchers that are healthy that can do it. Like, I don't think there's any reason to force the issue here. Brian Kelly said that Trey Green is questionable for the game and that maybe he could move to probable by the end of the week. We had a doctor from Auctioner on at the end of the hour, and Dr. Geoffrey Hogan told us, like, these can be 5-6 week injuries. Now, he is, I want to be clear again, not speaking directly about Trey Green. He is speaking in generalities about MCL sprains. So to me, I would suggest maybe South Carolina feels a little bit more doable for Trey Green. That would be 1 week off for Florida, 1 week off for Southeastern, 1 week off for Ole Miss, 1 week off for the bye, and then South Carolina. That would put you at 5 weeks. So he would miss Florida, Southeastern, and Ole Miss. But there remains to be seen what happens. I'm not going to speculate further on when those guys are going to come back. I'm just going to tell you what Brian Kelly said and what the doctor we had on set. The great news is no torn ACLs, no season-ending injuries. They're impactful players. Braylon Moore is your best offensive lineman, and and Trey Green is your most dynamic tight end, no doubt. But you do have depth at those spots. You have last year's center, who you don't have to move off the starting lineup spot. He just comes in and plays. And you've got 2 senior. Sharp's a senior. Green is a junior. Donovan Green's a junior. And they're veterans and can play the tight end spot. So it does hurt, but when you were in the stadium on Saturday and you saw the way those guys left the field and what they had put on them with the boot on Moore and crutches on Green and a brace, it didn't look good. Did not look good. But what we reported on Sunday turned out to be true. Brian Kelly talked about it today, and it looks like those guys will return at some point in the coming weeks, which is obviously a very, very good news. Looking for LSU content? Hunt on LSU is where you can find it. Hunt on Saints for all your black and gold content. LouisianaSports.net for free. Got a lot of content up there right now. A couple of the baseball commitments. What Brian Kelly had to say about the injuries today. Got my column from the game that's still available. So lots there on the website. All of it is for free. We'll step aside. Come back with Denton Day next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. They want to make things convenient for you at Genesis of Baton Rouge. That's why they allow you to search the entire inventory online. That's why they'll come to you for a test drive. That's why they've got delivery and e-contracts. If you purchase a vehicle, they can bring it to you and you don't have to go to the lot. That's why when you go to the lot, they're going to bring your car into a climate-controlled area so that you can see all the features. Their staff is second to none. They'll treat you like a guest, not a customer. It's a luxury brand. It's a luxury experience. It's a reasonable price. That's the Genesis way. Go by and see them. Airline at PQ. Check out the inventory at GenesisBatonRouge.com. See for yourself what sets Genesis apart. I love working with them. I love getting behind the wheel of their vehicles. You will too once you give them a shot. Whether that's this month you're looking for a vehicle or next year you're looking for a vehicle. Put Genesis on your list. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, 30 minutes to go here. Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. I hope your work week is off to a good start. Denton Day, college football overtime on Sirius XM. Good enough to give us time on these Mondays. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Denton, how we doing?
Hold on.
Did you not call Denton?
Not yet.
It's tough to bring him on the show when we haven't called him.
Yes,
that
that's
makes
true.
things exceptionally challenging. So I'll just go ahead and make that happen real quick.
All right.
And then we'll chat with him. Denton probably in a good mood. The Commanders took care of business over the weekend. Jaden Daniels and company got on the winning side of things. So did the Bengals. Finally, it was not pretty from the Bengals. I think they had like 11 yards in the second half. Just couldn't move the ball at all. Myles Garrett just terrorizing Joe Burrow as he generally does. But the Bengals found a way to win. And they didn't win a lot of games last year with defense, and they did so on Sunday. So that was a good thing, and the Commanders off to a good start as well. So the two Heisman-winning LSU quarterbacks off to good starts in the National Football League season, both 1-0. But we're here to talk some college football. We've got Denton now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. How we doing, sir?
I'm good. I mean, I think you guys are probably better. I imagine it feels great to see a team like Florida go down the way that they went down this weekend.
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, I thought they would cover the 17.5. I thought this was Billy Napier's best roster. I wasn't going to read a lot into South Florida punking Boise State the week prior, and it just was awful offensively for Napier and the Gators. I mean, how much longer are we going to give this?
Not much longer. I was in the same boat. I had Florida covering the 17.5. I thought USF beat a Boise State team that was just overranked because I didn't think Boise State was all that fantastic. And when you lose a generational running back, how could you be? And they proved that they are a really legitimate team. Either that or Florida just really sucked and they were also overranked. And this has been the luckiest 2-week stretch in terms of overranked opponents that any Group of 5 team has ever had. I was so bummed out as someone that had put money on Florida and their offense to see the output that they had. This is a home game. This is weather and stuff that they're used to, and they just could not put it together. It was kind of embarrassing. I can't imagine, based off of the way that the schedule unfolds, that he's going to get a whole lot longer there at Florida. And the funniest thing potentially of this whole thing, Hunt, is that the guy that beat him this weekend might eventually be the one that takes his job as head coach.
That would be interesting if they went up the road to Tampa and snagged the coach. So we'll see. It'll be LSU in Florida coming up on Saturday night in Death Valley. Oklahoma, nice win over Michigan. How real is this Sooners team?
I think John Mateer is very real. I think defensively, no one had many questions about them. They were a good defense last year. Brent Venables, a specialties defense. They just needed a quarterback. And, John Mateer looks the part going up against a Wink Martindale defense. Martindale has made a living off of confusing quarterbacks at the highest level. He's had real success doing it at the college level, and it felt like that Mateer, he passed the test, certainly. The problem is, and this has just been the problem with Michigan for the last now 2 seasons, they don't have an offense.
Yep.
So, you perform really, really well, and that's great, but at a certain point, I think everybody kind of knew, well, Michigan's not going to score the rest of the way. Outside a 175-yard scamper, they didn't really move the ball all that effectively, so it does make it a little bit easier to play well when the other team is just not very good offensively, and the defense is constantly out there, and then by the end of it, they're tired. So we'll see. They have a gauntlet as well. It's not a Florida-level gauntlet, but it's just about as close as that Florida-level gauntlet. So we'll see how real they are once they start playing teams in the SEC, but I was very impressed this weekend.
I don't love when Blue Bloods hire the guy who stood next to the head coach. I didn't like when North Carolina and Duke basketball just hired the next guy. And Michigan has done that with Sharon Moore, who was standing next to Jim Harbaugh, and they haven't been able to move the ball since Jim Harbaugh left. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on what the future holds for Sharon Moore. Do you think that he'll eventually make that program his own and have a lot of success, or do you think that this is ultimately going to be a failed hire?
I think it'll be more of a failed hire. And it's not really anything against him, but he's going to have his hands tied because of all of the sanctions, right? So immediately your job is going to be significantly more difficult. In the recruiting trail, the teams are going to use that against you. And if you can't establish a different identity, which he can't because he doesn't have a quarterback, it's going to be really difficult. Now, maybe Bryce Underwood ends up being something, but at that point, if you're not winning games consistently, somebody else is going to throw him money. And he's going to leave if he ends up playing well. So in this new era of college football, I do think it's really difficult, as you mentioned, to just hire the guy that's standing next to the coach and maybe doesn't have a firm grip on how to lead a program. I'm always a fan of going from the group of 5 or from a lesser conference, basically like the Big 12 or ACC, and stealing one of their coaches and saying, hey, come run this program. You can do it with less resources. We have more resources. Come make this thing work. And I don't know that Sharon Moore is the guy for Michigan if they want to hit the levels that they did with Jim Harbaugh.
You have a thought on Penn State? Kind of a sloppy beginning there. It just didn't look great. Do you care at all because it's a game that they won comfortably against a bad team, or is there any sort of red flag there?
Maybe an orange flag because it was sloppy, but against that opposition, there's really not much you're going to take away from it. They didn't hang 70, and I guess they would have liked to hang 70 the way that some of these other schools did. But I mean, I don't really take too much away from them not busting the chops of Florida International.
We'll see. Speaking of offense, Bo Pribula and Missouri really slung it around a little bit on Kansas on their home field in Columbia over the weekend. 42-31 was the final there. How good's Missouri?
I think they're climbing the rankings of being a good team. I actually had Kansas in that one. I thought coming into that one, the Jalen Daniels, potential Heisman candidate there. I thought he played really well the first 2 weeks, and he played well in this one. But Kansas just not as talented. So the fact that they're 25 now, I do think that the floor for them is going to continue to rise because they have a guy that they now trust to sling it around. And it's such a luxury in today's college football landscape if you have a guy that you can trust. Hey, go make a big-time throw, and you have him go out there and he does it. So I think Missouri has the potential to very quietly, charge up these rankings a little bit and be looked at as a good team by the end of the year.
Let's talk about the week to come here, just kind of overarching thoughts. I'm curious how you see Georgia and Tennessee, kind of a sluggish effort from Georgia offensively back on Saturday as well. Tennessee scored 70. So how do you see that one?
We're really going to find out about this Joey Aguilar guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think anything would have been better than Nico Y, and what he's doing at UCLA is hilarious. I mean, this guy wanted all the money in the world and he can't play. So we're going to find out a lot about this Joey Aguilar kid, because this is you want to talk about a step up in competition. Georgia's a step up in competition from some of the teams that Tennessee has been playing. They're not going to hang 70 on him, but at the same time, I don't really know what Gunnar Stockton is. He looked good in week 1. As you mentioned, they were kind of sloppy-er, if you will. Not part of that's because of the weather, and, they moved the game time up like a couple hours before the game, so there was a bunch of different factors that led to that. But this one, no excuses, right? This is a tough matchup. You know about it. You should be amped for it. I think we're going to learn, though, more about Tennessee than we will about Georgia, just to how real this quarterback situation they have going on is.
I like to see what I think the line will be before I actually look at the line that gets posted. And I was way off on Texas A&M and Notre Dame for this week. I would have had that close to a field goal. The number I'm looking at right now is 6.5. Notre Dame is favored. That surprises me a little bit. How do you read that one?
That is stunning, because I do that same thing. I'm such a degenerate that I like to see if I could make it as an odds maker. The whole radio thing doesn't work out. But I would have thought I would say maybe 3.5 to 4.5. So the fact that it's 6.5 is a little startling, especially because Notre Dame, they didn't get the benefit of a layup game this week to get into rhythm. Maybe this is Vegas saying they don't really trust that Marcel Reed is going to be 100% the upcoming weekend, but it's not like they did anything Notre Dame against Miami that you thought was so unbelievably positive that they'll be able to go in and beat Texas A&M. So that line is a little surprising, but you know how it goes. When the line is surprising, that means there's something up.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. Clemson looked really bad in the first half against Troy. Found a way to rally in the second half. They go on the road to Georgia Tech. I think there are some folks here in Baton Rouge that are a little bit concerned with Clemson's effort over the weekend. Are you concerned that maybe that LSU win wasn't as good as we thought at the time?
Maybe a little bit. You're going to learn. I mean, this is the game that I have circled as we are learning a lot here.
Yeah.
As someone that had Clemson as the national championship pick, as someone that was not Heisman level high on Cade Klubnik, but I was higher than most because it felt like people were just kind of dunking on him this entire offseason. If you can't beat Georgia Tech, I wasted my money, and a lot of us wasted our breath talking about Clemson as a championship team. This is one that you have to have. Georgia Tech is a good ACC team. You did not play very well in the first quarter, in the first half, really even part of the third quarter against Troy. This is a game that Clemson needs to have, and it would, I think, be very good for them, and in turn, very good for LSU if they do their best to win this one with style points.
Yeah, we'll be watching from back here in Baton Rouge. One more SEC game that has caught my eye based on the results of this past weekend. Vanderbilt going back on the road to South Carolina. 5.5 is the number on that one. It was an impressive second half for Vanderbilt at Virginia Tech. Do they have a chance to go to Columbia and win?
I would pump the brakes a little bit on that one. Virginia Tech, I'm not super local to Virginia Tech, but kind of is at the same time. They're the closest 5.5-hour school away from me that I think I could imagine. So we kind of are like Virginia Tech territory in D.C. They stink.
Okay.
They're not good. Yeah, I mean, they are perennially a team that is going to take a number 2 in the bed. That's just kind of how they've operated over the past couple of years since Frank Beamer left. I think that is a little bit of a head fake, what you saw. It's great for Vanderbilt. I mean, they played well in the second half. I'm not taking that away from them, but there's something about this Virginia Tech team they have not been a trustworthy team for the last decade here.
Well, what do you make of that if you're there? I mean, Beamer had them. They were relevant in a lesser league. They were Big East for a lot of that. But they were relevant every year. They were putting a lot of guys in the NFL, and they just haven't been relevant at all for almost a decade.
No, they haven't had a quarterback. I thought Drones was going to be really good last year, and he showed spurts, but he wasn't fantastic. And it's kind of more of the same. It's a lot more difficult when teams in the Big Ten that are taking the recruiting footprint that is the greater Washington, D.C. area, which is one of the best in the country, when teams in the Big Ten and teams in the SEC are now putting the money in to go and get these kids. Virginia Tech loses out on most of them.
Makes sense. Got to have players to win games. Kirby Smart talks about it all the time, and if you don't have them, it's a real tough slog. All right, Denton, we appreciate some time. We'll be catching you after the ball game on Saturday, and then we'll talk to you again next Monday.
Hunt, appreciate it as always, my friend. Be well.
Denton Day, SiriusXM College Football Overtime, gives us a little national perspective on Mondays. Let's take a time out, close it out on Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, This is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Kellen Moore, meeting with media today, further explained his not taking a timeout at the end of the first half, which I laid out in my segment in hour number 1. But the Cardinals had first and goal at the 5 with 1 minute and 16 seconds to go in the half. The Saints had all 3 timeouts, and they let the clock get all the way down to 28 seconds by the time the Cardinals scored a touchdown and the Saints got it back, which I thought was ridiculous. They just called a timeout, and you could have gotten the ball back with 1 minute to go. And Kellen Moore's explanation today about that, after 24 hours later, was that he didn't want to call timeouts, get the ball back with 1 minute to go 3 and out, and have the Cardinals have the ball back again. I mean, if that's the concern, then what are we even doing? Like, that's ludicrous in my eyes.
What did Herm Edwards say? You play to win the game. I think you have to consider the fact that you can give yourself a possession. Like, if you call the timeouts, you get a possession. And without calling the timeouts, you don't get a possession. And the Saints lost a possession because they didn't call timeouts. That's just
didn't want to go
it.
3 and out and give the ball back to the Cardinals. A lot of trust in that defense and that offense.
Yeah, also
I don't trust the offense to get a first down. I don't trust the defense to get a stop.
Why are you just assuming that you're going to go 3 and out? Why would you believe that? Shouldn't you believe you're going to have positive plays?
That's a bad answer. And here's what I think. I will never be able to prove this. No chance I can prove it. It is just a gut instinct. I think he choked. And I think he's trying to make it sound better, so he thought up another explanation last night and then went with it, and I think it was wrong. That's what I think happened.
Yeah.
Again, it's not that big a deal because I don't think that the games that they win or lose this season are going to matter very much. What will be important is that he learns from that, and don't do that again. Don't just let the clock run down while your defense is standing on the 3-yard line and then go up a touchdown and not have the opportunity to go down the field with your offense because you didn't call a timeout. That he needs to learn from that. He can make mistakes. It's his first year as a head coach. He can make mistakes. Just don't do it 3 times. Learn from the mistakes that you make. And that was a mistake. I don't need to hear the answer that he thought they were going to go 3 and out and punt back to the Cardinals and let them score again. I don't think so. All right. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it. Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. Had a few flights yesterday in the afternoon. Very, very tasty on those warm Louisiana days. If you're looking for a light beer that still has that great flavor, you haven't tried Flight by Yingling yet, what are you waiting for? We gave away 3 cases on Friday. Told all those were very, very tasty as well. It's Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
All right, first one here. The Shark Dogs got it done on Saturday. Take it or leave it.
You better leave that, boss.
I'll take it. Oh, yeah?
Oh, the 4-year-olds showed up. Our team's only 3. I think the final was something close to 29-1. Like, the Shark Dogs got the ball, and the other team was on the other side of the field, and one of the kids would start dribbling it, and once it got, 6 feet in front of that whatever Shark Dog, the 4-year-old would just take it and go score. I mean, every time.
Okay, so they lost.
Oh, yeah, 29-1.
That's what I said. I asked if they got it done. You said take it.
Oh, leave it.
Okay, so we need to leave that.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
need to leave it alone. It was a annihilation by the 4-year-old.
Who scored?
Meyer scored.
Okay, see, that's what we need to hear, Hunt.
He was not impressed with his team's effort.
Well, of course not. You
so
can't.
I'm not doing very good. So you're doing great, bud. These kids are a lot older than you.
Yeah.
There was a girl on this team, looked like Mia Hamm out there. I mean, she was just putting it in the net. They were scoring instantly at every time.
Yeah.
Shark Dogs played tough. They got a goal in the second half.
Great effort for Myers. Okay,
Great
that's
effort
look.
from the
You
Myers
learn
men.
you learn from those games. You
I
really
think that
do.
every other team except one in the league is 4. So we've gotten the
tough.
3. When they played the 3-year-olds the week before, the Shark Dogs dominated, but they get it handed to them pretty good by the 4-year-olds.
It's all right. They're going to learn from that. It's gonna build character in them for sure.
Is.
Yeah. Next one, Monday Night Football. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
Just saw the field. A lot of concerns about the field at Soldier Field tonight.
It's
had
always
some
bad.
concerts last week. They got new sod. You can very clearly see it's just been rolled out. They're out there hammering away on it. It's just ridiculous.
Soldier Field has had issues with the
turf always
turf
looks
is
bad.
Always,
the
it's always
Bears are
bad.
moving. They're going to Arlington Heights, but they gotta figure something out. That field's bad.
Yeah. All right. Last one here. The United States won the Walker Cup on Sunday for its 5th straight victory, beating Great Britain and Ireland 17-9 at Cypress Point Club, bringing the overall record to 49-1 in favor of the United States. Let's change
Wait,
the Walker
Cup has only been won by GB&I once?
No, 9.
Oh, I thought you said 1.
No. So they're 40.
They're
49-1. So one draw. There was one time that it tied.
49-1.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't realize it was that lopsided.
Yes. Let's change the Walker Cup to U.S. versus Euro Electorado Cup. Take it or leave it.
I'd take it. I think that'd be fine if they wanted to do that. It's going to hurt a lot of GB&I guys' chances of making the team.
In Ireland, yeah, it's true.
I saw that a guy had a walk-off eagle in 17. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, that is. But that's Why do we don't need Like the Ryder Cup is U.S. versus Europe. Let's just make this. This is supposed to be the amateur version of that. Just let your other European guys come play. I mean, it would just make it a lot more competitive.
I also love Stu Hagestad playing in it.
Yeah,
like, there's a
great.
guy for GB&I that's in high school.
Yeah.
And Hagestad's like 34.
There was also a guy for GB&I who was like 32 as well.
Was there?
Yeah.
There's a 6'9" guy.
Hey.
Means you got a shot to make the Walker Cup.
All right.
What are you hitting on 16 at Cypress Point?
Probably, well, if there's no wind, probably a 3 hybrid. If there is wind, probably a 3 wood.
3 wood?
Yes.
My caddy on that hole said he had never raked the back bunker. He had never had anybody hit it in the back
I saw a video about how a caddy literally lived like in between the 16th and 17th hole right there. It just had a tent.
Quite a place.
Yeah.
Cypress Point, good spot. That's it for us here on this Monday. If you missed any of the show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Injury updates from LSU, injury updates from the Saints as well. We'll transition to moving into next week's games on tomorrow's show. Y'all have a safe Monday evening. Matt's going to drive you home on AFR next. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient. And the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana.